Okay, hi, welcome to Module 7. And this is actually going to be a wrap up for our Power Automates series. So basically, what we'll be looking at here is now the advanced logics, right, that are available. Then, though we've touched on that in previous videos, but I'll just reiterate what they are used for and show you how they appear on Power Automate. Also, we're going to talk about variables. So if you want to hold information, so how do you hold them, then use them again, set their values and all that, then work with expressions. So we're going to be walking through all of that in this episode, right? So for complex things you want to keep to start doing, you want to hold informations, you want to do some complex variable sets and all that, you could work on using this. So we have what we call conditions. So conditions basically allows you to do some checks, and based on those checks, you direct the flow into different channel and into different paths, right? So you have the blocks of conditions, and they flow into them, right? So if it's true, it passes through. If it's false, it goes through here. That's basically what you have for conditions, for conditional statements. Then also under control. So all these fall under what we call control. It's the action called control. And under control, we have the conditions, we have switch case. So switch case basically is if you have different criteria that a, a a field can hold, right, multiple times. Just like let me go down to our flow here, right? Like this our lead now, right? If you come to the form, under the purchase time frame, someone could either select immediate, this quarter, next quarter, or this year. So in that case, to be able to specify which one you're picking, you then go down to your Power Automate, right? In Power Automate, we could then use the concept of switch, right? Where you could then use the switch case, which is what we have here, and you'll be picking the field, which is basically this purchase time frame, right? Then you'll be checking for the record that came in, is the value in purchase time frame equals to immediate. If it is equal to, it switches and comes to this part and follows this down to the end. If it's not equal to, then it goes to the next case. The next case is this quarter. You can say equals to, then this value, then it goes down to, if it's not equal to, then it goes to the next. So that's basically how you have your different switch cases, and you can now perform different things underneath them, right? So there are also various different conditions we could have. So like I said, all of them are under the cluster called control. So if you come under control, we have a lot of things you can do. So we have condition, which is what we looked at, right? Condition is basically you just specify a condition as against the value that came in, right? And if it's true, if it's yes, your flow will take this part. If it's no, it takes the other part, right? That's what we have for condition. We also have another control called we've looked at the switch case. We have the dual onto, right? So it's when you want to do a specific action, maybe keep performing an action until something changes, right? Which is what you're actually monitoring. That's basically what we have for the do onto. We also have the scope, we also have the switch, and we also have terminate. So if you want to turn on, if you want to end the flow at a given point in time based on certain action, maybe something failed, or you cancelled, or it succeeded. At this point in time, if you want to terminate this flow, you could put in this action here, right? So that's basically what we have for the control. And like usually said, there are a whole ton of controls and a whole ton of actions you could work with, right? And all those are actually available here. We have the built-in, standard, premium, and custom. So you could come down and pick whichever one you're looking for and get more details about them. And if you are looking for an action to use, and you basically don't know what that action actually is doing, right? And you want to get details about that action, so let's say, for instance, now I click on, let me delete this. I click on this new step and I come to control now. Oh, sorry. I click on this new step and I want to check the details about how to use this, I can come and click on this information icon here. If I click on this, it will give me a quick details about this action I want to use. And if I want to read more about it, I just click on the learn more. It's going to take me to the Microsoft learn area where I can get details about it. And with that, I can then know if it actually suits what I'm actually looking to achieve or not, because there are a whole list of actions you can perform with Power Automate. A whole list, even things like converting your documents, saving them, creating documents from scratch. All of them, they are actually available here. But to know if it serves what you're looking for, you could just look out for that action, then click on the information icon here, and you'll be able to get details about those actions. So that's basically what we have for the controls we have on the system. Let's head back to our slide now and look into what we have for variables. So variables are basically holders, right, that you use in holding information. So let's say you want to capture some things as the flow is going. At some point in time, when a value is called, you want to capture those values, then use them in other places, right? So that's basically what we call variables. So you must initialize a variable. Then at the point of initializing it, you can actually pass in the value, or you pass in the value later, which is the action we call set variable. So we have initialize variable to declare the variable. Then we now have set variables to now pass in values to those variables. But you can actually pass in the variables at the point where you're initializing the variable. And we have different type of variables. You could store strings, you could store numbers, you could store arrays, and you could even store JSON and a whole lot of variables. So let's go to our system and see how we declare variables. So if you go down here, to be able to declare variable, so most times you are advised to declare variable before they are being used. So let's say after this get response, I want to declare a variable called, so I'll call this initialize. So if I say initialize, you can see variable here. If I click on this variable, it's going to give me all the possible variable actions that are variable. You can see set variable, initialize variable, increment variable, decrement variable, append variable, append to array variable. So what we want to do is initialize variable, and what we want to call this, we'll call this lead first name. So let's say I want to use this variable to hold the person's name, and this is where we declare the data type. So you have boolean, integer, float, string, object, and array. So the person's name is actually a text, so it will come in as a string. And if I already have the value from previous action, I could actually pass it here. So let's say I come this and I said first name. So you can see first name here under the get response, and I can click on here. With this now, I have declared my my variable, and I've also passed it. I've also passed a value to it. So let's say I declare on that variable, I call this last name. So I call this initialize variable, and what I'll pass here is called last name. So let's say I declare this, but I will not pass in the value here. So I'll call this string. Then if I want to now set this variable now, right, I can go down inside any of this. Let's say I click on this. I will do set variable. So you can see set variable. Now I'm going to call the variable I want to set, and that one is the last name. And what I want to pass in is last name from our lead response, right? So I'll call this last name from the form, which is this. Then I can also reorder this and take this up. Let me take this down, right? Then to use these variables in different places, right? Just like the way you call dynamic values, I could call dynamic values here. So let's say for this last name now, I want to use this variable. I could just come here and type last name. So I could pick this last name. With this now, I'm using this variable that I've held. So whatever was captured from this form, right, in last name, I pass it into the last name variable here, and I'm now using it inside this my add a new row to dataverse. The same thing also can happen for the first name. I can come here, delete what is here, and put in my first name. So with this now, I've now captured the list first name. I could click on save. So this is basically how you use variables, right, in the system, and it can build up and up and up based on what you're doing. So if you want to hold a record, or you want to hold a value or something, maybe also you want to use it to increment, you use the variables to hold. So your placeholders, and to be able to use them in later time and also change them in later time, is the concept of what we have called variables. So let's proceed now. Then the next of what we have is also what we call expressions, right? So expressions are basically formulas that you can now build upon, right? So let's go back to our. So if you want to use expressions, basically you click on your new action. So in the point where you want to use your expression, you then need to pass in, you click on the dynamic and pass. So for instance, let's come down here and say we want to pass in expression for the amount, right? So let's say for instance you want to pass an expression. So how you get to expression, you click on expression here, and you have a whole list of functions that you could use, right, to create your formulas. And here is what is being used here is the power fx, right? Just the normal way you do formulas on Excel, right? That's basically what you also have here. And you can now review the various formulas that are available. You can see you can concatenate two strings. If you want to see more things that are under the string function, if you click on more here, you're going to get a whole list of functions that are available. So you have concatenating to join two strings, you have substrings, you have slice. So all those functions that you have, right, to be able to play with text, you have them here. So you have that here. You also have collections. If you are working with collections, you want to find the length, you want to sort, you want to reverse. Then you also have logical functions, the if, else, the and, the or, the not. All those operations are actually available here. You also have your JSON. So if you want to convert JSON, also you have that possible here. So you have a whole list of expressions that are available here that you could work with, right? Depending on what you're looking for. So let's say, for instance, I want to pass in, let me look for show advance. I want to pass in, let's say, a dates field, right? Let me look for a dates field. So I'm looking for anything that just speaks to dates. Okay, like this record created on now, right? Let's say I want to pass in the date that it's created today. I can come to my expression. I can just do UTC. There's a date time function, which is this. Can you see date and time? I can use UTC now. If I just click on this and I click on OK, so it's going to pass in this expression, which is I'm picking the current date and time now, and that's what I'm passing into this. And I can click on save. So that's basically how we go about using variables and expression, right, in Power Automate. The next thing we're looking at now is error handling. So how do you handle errors, right, when they come up on the system? Though we've seen that previously. So one way you will know an error has occurred is that your flow will fail. So when it fails, you can now begin to investigate to see how that checks. And how you could do that is basically with the run history. So if I come down to my flow, so for instance, now if I go back to this flow, if I click on it, just below that I can see the histories I've run for the last 28 days, right? So I can click on any of them and I can now investigate to know what's actually going on. If it fails, you're going to see the failure icon, and when you click on the any of the action that failed, you'll be able to see the details here. So you're able to see the details here to tell you, okay, this is why this failed. Let me check out if I have any flow here that I could use to show us failure in action. Okay, I don't have any flow here. Okay, so let's check this and see if there's any fail flow here. Okay, none. None here. Okay, so for instance, now this one, all the flow that ran, all of them succeeded. So I'm trying to look for any, if there's any that failed. So we just use that. Okay, there's none that failed. But once any failed, you see the status here, right? The status here will state that it failed. Then you can click on it, and it opens up that flow for you to be able to check, right? Also, there's a possibility of you putting in conditions to check, right? Um, within the flow to be able to tell if it actually failed or whatever happened. And you could configure that when it failed at some point, if you want the flow to continue, if you want it um, to keep running or to terminate at that point, you could actually now do what we call the configure after. So let's say I click on edit here. So if you come down to this, if you come to your settings, okay, let's look out for the configure after for an action. Okay, so for instance, on the add a new row, if you click on the three dots here, right, you could see the configure run after. So this is basically where you can now specify some things that should happen. Okay, if it's so successful, that's if this is successful, what should happen to this one? Should it run? So if the action before this one failed, should it still run? If it was skipped, should it still run? If it timed out, should it still run? So that's basically what you where you use the configure run after. So that, but by default, the action below an action will only run after it has the previous one succeeded. But you can now specify if you want it to still continue even after it has run, you'll be able to do that. So that's basically the nitty gritty of some of the advanced logic, variables, and expressions you can use, and also how you could manage error. So going forward in the next series, right, we'll be looking at building real world projects, right? So we'll just pick a project, we'll walk through the end to end of building it, and we'll do that for quite a number of business use cases, maybe from HR to sales and all that, to be able to give more hands-on into what we've learned all through down to this model. So thank you very much for staying through, and see you in our next series where we'll be building real world projects using Power Automate. Thank you, and see you in the next class.